20 years. Welcome to another episode of the Salty Advisor podcast. Today is 10 May, year of our Lord 2024, and this is episode number 1 of season 3, and I am going to introduce the Doug Carter Library, tell you something you don't know about me, and a group of people I've been hanging out with for about 20 years. I'm going to give you an update on the Brazos River and tell you why that matters to me anyway, and we're going to talk a little bit for a minute about Mother's Day coming up this weekend, and I am on my way to head out. So let's get started. I think what I want to do first is show you this group of people that I've been working with for some time. Doug Carter is one of those people in my life that I would say is in the top 3 most influential people in my life. He's a guy that I met, 20 years ago, and this group of people are the people that we've worked with in the Doug Carter Summit. So this is Mount Shasta. You're seeing Mount Shasta on the screen, and that these guys, this was last year in Mount Shasta, and this was just us hanging out up on the pass. So there was still several feet of snow there, and the road was closed, and it was pretty awesome. But the point is, we were hanging out and having a great time. And this is a group of people that I've been working with. It's like a mastermind group of financial professionals, financial planning professionals. And so this season of the Salty Advisor podcast, I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time working with this group of folks to create the Doug Carter Library. So I want to show you, let me just quickly go grab that. I want to show you, if I can, this little clip of my friend. This is something we worked on in our last get together. This is in Denver. So it looks like the same opening. That video is just, let me.
Well, yes, that's why I exist on this planet. My name is Max Dixon. I'm a professional speaker and a speaker coach. When you increase your ability to communicate with someone else, they are going to listen to you, they are going to trust you, they are going to be more persuaded by you. My ambition is to help speakers discover the special power of their expressive self. And it is my intention to assist them to communicate exactly what they intend to communicate. I seem to be able to find what someone is already doing that works. And I also have an ability to see what might be getting in their way, how they could apply some new skill that would take them to a whole other level of speaker effectiveness. Somebody referred to me as a speaker whisperer. That's because when I'm coaching somebody in front of a group of people, I'll let them start speaking, and after maybe 10 or 15 seconds.
So that is Max Dixon. Last year when we were in Mount Shasta, we discovered, I learned that Max had died. And so this is Brad, a leader in our group, talking about Max Dixon. And well, just listen.
Life's work. And sadly, I started to track him down because Doug had lost contact with him. I didn't have his contact information. I think he and I were connected on LinkedIn. Of course, I went to research that. His LinkedIn profile had gone dead several years. Of course, I live in King County. I knew exactly where he lived. He lived in Green Lake, which is a suburb of Seattle, just north of Lake Union. And I started to do it, and sure enough, his home, I found his house, and because he had described it, where it was, etc., so it wasn't hard to find, and it had sold. And then I had a conversation with Doug, and it was like, what can we find out? Essentially what we ferreted out from this conversation is, at some point in time, he had been moved into an assisted living facility, and then he passed away. And Doug knew somebody who was somewhat of a secretary, caretaker, whatever, a financial advisor, who probably took all of those belongings that I think had been put in storage and probably are just tossed. And it's just a shame, because he was a wealth of knowledge, just like Doug is a wealth of knowledge. And you know, I just would hate to see somebody who has that level of brilliance, someone like Doug, he and I have had the conversations about this in the past, who's really made a major impact in the world, just to have that stuff go poof. So I think that that's what the conversation was about.
So that was a beautiful little moment with our group. That was Brad Berger. Brad, I'm working on your video, and I told you I would get it kind of edited up and ready for prime time. And so I'm working on that. But I just wanted to share a little introduction. We are working on, Doug was kind enough to let us as a group decide to collaborate on working on a library. We've all been blessed so much by, I'm going to just see if I can play that again while I'm talking. But Doug has been just an amazing coach for me and for our group. And so when Max Dixon passed, he had touched many lives, like Brad said. And we, some of us, I never worked with Max, but his teachings, his principles, he was a communication coach. Doug Carter is what I consider an executive life coach, and I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in my career, literally, as the young people say, literally. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on personal and professional development, including executive coaching. And for the most part, I think the executive coaching is, it's a tool, a resource to help anyone who wants to do big things in their life. And when I look over my life, I just turned 62 years old. When I look over the last few decades of my life and the things that I've been able to accomplish, I'm profoundly grateful. And so in this season of the Salty Advisor podcast, I wanted to spend a few minutes, some time, a few episodes, a whole season, kind of collaborating with this group of people, and not just them, but anyone who wants to collaborate on the principles, the process, the tools, the benefits of executive life coaching. So the Salty Advisor podcast is, this season we're going to focus on women of wealth, business leaders, and Brad is a business leader, and every one of the folks in this group is a business leader. And if you're a business leader, you're going to want to check it out and be a part of the group. I mean, just a part of the podcast, I would say, because we're going to make certain things available to the community. Sorry about that. And I'm going to be posting live to YouTube like I am now for the next season. And the season could be a year, it could be 6 months, 3 months, and it won't be as consistent as I would like, but I'm going to do my best. I want to tell you why. Let me just get this going real quick. I wanted to share an update about what's going on at the Brazos River. Let me just jump over here. Give me just a second. And here we go. So the Brazos River is flooding. The river, she's rising, you could say. And we just moved, Connie and I. My wife, Connie, is a volunteer park host in a Texas state park system. And I get to do that with her. We have a nice RV. We've got all the toys you could want to camp. We love camping. We've been camping for many years. And recently we decided to go ahead and move to the park. We had a little anniversary getaway, and we talked about what we wanted to do in our lives, and that was on her bucket list. So you'll get to know Connie a little bit over the next season of the Salty Advisor podcast as I share a little bit of our story. But part of our story is that we live in a Texas state park. We just moved from the Stephen F. Austin State Park to the Brazos Bend State Park, and that is a bit of a challenge because the river, like I said, the river is rising. So that's footage. You're watching footage from, I think that's Hurricane Harvey. I'm not positive, but it's the same section of land that our RV is at right now. And the reason that's kind of interesting, important, is because this week we moved last week. So 1 week ago today, we moved our 42-foot open range RV from Stephen F. Austin to Brazos Bend. And then we found out that the river was at critical stages and it was going to be an urgent priority to get our RV moved. So I spent, and by the way, when we moved from Stephen F. Austin to Brazos, my beautiful old truck, it's a 2006 F350 Ford Power Stroke, one of the cylinders decided to go on strike. So I had to take it into the shop, told the folks over at Bubba's in Santa Fe, Texas, don't worry, no hurry, because we're going to be here for 6 months. Keep it as long as you want. And then I got the call that we had to move the RV. So fortunately, Paul, my neighbor, beautiful man, he let me borrow his truck to move my RV. But anyway, that's the river. She's rising. And that's something that I wanted to just kind of point out, that sometimes life happens, and it happened this week for me. And that's one reason why I'm a little late getting to this episode. So I'm going to just take a minute here to figure out what I'm going to do next. I have here we go. I want to share a little bit about Mother's Day, because Mother's Day is coming up this week and I'll be driving to Michigan. But first, if you're a woman of wealth, a business leader, or a financial planning professional, I wanted to make you aware of some of the resources we have posted on our website at saltyadvisors.com. So you can check those out. If you're looking at the screen, you'll see we have a list of links there at the top of the page, and you can check those out at your leisure. Also have a link to the podcast. If you want to leave a 5-star review, we would sure appreciate that. There's also, if you just look at the top of the page, you'll see that we have a link to our YouTube playlist for the Salty Advisor podcast. That's where we will post all of these episodes, and you can quickly find them by just clicking on that link. If you want to book a Zoom meeting with me, there's a link to do that as well. And then all of our social media, Facebook, X or Twitter, LinkedIn, my favorite social media platform, and then our YouTube channel again. If you want to ask me anything, just click on that link and you can send me an email, and I'd be happy to answer any question you might have. Just again, click on Ask Me Anything. And then moving on over to the right, we have a link for our featured training on Thinkific. So again, you can check out that content, those resources. We'll be adding more resources every week to saltyadvisors.com. So now, back to the podcast. So that was a bit of a commercial. Thank you for letting me do that. So now it's time to talk about Mother's Day. And I think I did mention that I'll be going to I'll be hitting the road, driving to Michigan with my beautiful wife, Connie. And so what you're seeing now is just a video that I made I made this for my mom. It's a video of my dad. But anyway, I was just looking at some of the stuff that I had in the archives, and this is one of the things that I had. That's my dad. He was in the Air Force, and that's my mom, and that's who I'm going to see. And so I just threw this together, a bunch of images. My dad was a pilot. He was an awesome man. He fed the squirrels and the rabbits, and my mom and dad were very much in love, and we lost him 3-4 years ago, and so we miss him. But I'm getting to see Mom. Mom's doing great. Mom, I love you, and I can't wait to see you. So that's where I'm going this weekend for Mother's Day. And I didn't want to end this episode without saying that it is Mother's Day. And so I'm so thankful I get to go see my mom, and she's doing great. We're going to spend some time together with the family in Lansing, Michigan. That's right there. It's Lansing, Michigan. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day with people that you love, a mother, hopefully. If you get to do that, then be blessed. So that is going to pretty much do it. But I do have one more thing I want to tell you about before we end this episode, because I want to, let me just get there real quick. I wanted to share, if I have it. I think I don't have it. So I am working on a video for a friend of mine named Lauren. And Lauren is, let me just get something up on the screen so you can see it. So Lauren, that's the Stephen F. Austin State Park that you're seeing there. That's a beautiful place. We just left there. Those are some of the animals that lived in our backyard. But anyway, I wanted to share that I am going to be working on a video for, hold on, I'm hitting the wrong button. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. This is being live streamed to YouTube and LinkedIn and X, Twitter, and Facebook. And so if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you'll hit the like button, subscribe. It's a brand new channel, so you can subscribe to that channel at Jim Munchback. Thank you for doing that. It helps the channel, and it's brand new. So anyway, I have a video I'm working on, but I don't have permission to share it. It's Laurel. Laurel, I am going to be working on your video. Brad, I'm going to be working on your video, and that's what's coming as we jump into the work that we'll be doing together to create the library of resources that we talked about when we were together in Denver at the Doug Carter Summit. So we've been talking as a group one-on-one about doing this library of content that is like the best of the best, the principles, the ideas, the tools, and we'll do that in a lot of ways. And I can't wait to share with you all the strategies and tools and ways that we will work together to create that library of content, really in honor of Doug Carter, and I think inspired by Max Dixon. So I hope you will stay tuned. I hope you'll subscribe to the podcast. It is going to be a lot of fun this semester. I just ended a semester of personal finance at the University of Houston. And so it's not a semester, it's a season in the Salty Advisor podcast. So I do hope you will join us, and I hope you will subscribe to the podcast. It's in YouTube. It's on YouTube. We have a playlist on YouTube, like I said before. But the podcast is played everywhere podcasts are played. iTunes, Google, Amazon, you name it, the podcast, the Salty Advisor podcast will be there. So I'm going to end there, and I'm going to go pack and get ready for my next appointment. And then from my next appointment, I'm hitting the road to drive to Michigan. So I'll be back soon. Have a great weekend. Have a great Mother's Day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.